control styles. So he was being very indirect. I indirectly approached him, and then once I kind of got an idea and worked on relationship building with him, which is a Chinese orientation, and then with that information, what? I went to the government and then used kind of an indirect approach with them as well. So this is, normally we do a style switching exercise, we're not going to do that today, but the idea is, you can think about where would a style switching be beneficial. Sometimes I actually kind of go into a meditation mode, like this is really going to be difficult for me. But this is the most common. I tend to model some of those behaviors from other, depending on which culture I'm in at the time. Clearly, when you switch styles or when you frame shift, which is actually changing your frame of reference and even take on a different leadership style. Some things are just core. They're core values that you cannot change, don't wish to change. Others are negotiable. I think one core value that was important to me was integrity and honesty. When I left Portland and I ran Seagram's in China, Shanghainese was one culture. Then I went down to Xiamen and Fuzhou, different culture altogether. I'd go into a karaoke room. These KTVs were owned by gangsters. Yeah. You know, and one said, "Hey, I'm sorry, Mr. Whitehorn, we had to close the nightclub." I said, "Why?" "Well, a guy brought his gun and murdered a guy, and now we have to close shop for a week." You know, and another club down there said, "Hey, we got to drink from a coffee. We got to drink cognac, Martell cognac from a coffee cup." I said, "Why?" "Because in case the police come in, you know, we can show that we're drinking coffee." He said, "But don't worry, because the police will call us before they come over." You know, and then I would meet a customs, the director of customs for Xiamen, and he says, "Hi, I'm the biggest smuggler in southern China." You know, and I was not used to that living in Shanghai. I find that very difficult to switch styles. And with the gangsters, of course, you got to stand up, you got to ganbei, and then you have to sit down. They stand up to give you face, very hard. If I stand up with them, then that belittles my staff. You know, they want me to be this big, like the Godfather. You know, this is a whole other subculture I find very difficult and not very rewarding for me. So I tended not to do that. You know, I did it for a while. It wasn't my style. So I tended to avoid that kind of situation. Let's see what time is it now, 2:30. Let's do that one roll exercise now before the break. I think we have time for that. Oops, sorry. Okay, we're going to discuss negotiation approaches, and there's lots of theories behind negotiation, but right now let's just do a quick exercise, and then after that we'll take a break and come back and debrief. Okay, is that all right with everybody? Okay, so for each table, we're going to have two buyers. Let's see. We've got two buyers and a seller. So we're going to have team up. So there'll be buyer A, buyer B, and one seller. So you could be buyer A, you could be buyer B, and you'll be the seller. Okay?
So what it is that if you got 6 people in your table, then you have teams of 2 persons each, right? So you have buyer team 1, buyer team B, and seller team.
So if there's 6,
so if you have an odd number, then perhaps the odd number will be the low range.
Okay. So buyer 2. You could be the seller. Would you like another one? Buyer 2.
So the 3 of us can do 1 and they'll do the second one.
You guys have everything?
So you're buyer 1, you're buyer 2, and so.
Buyer 1?
Different roles.
You guys be buyer 1?
I'm about to sell, so I'd rather buy.
Seller. Buyer 1 over here.
Buyer 2, seller. Buyer 1.
No, you're selling to them.
You are buyer. Buyer one. I'm also buyer one.
And buyer two.
So, I mean,
I think it's kind of two routine.
Yes.
yeah, yeah, we should be.
You sell to them.
What you here? It must be the seller
You're a
here.
buyer, no?
Buyer one, buyer one.
Okay.
Okay, want the seller?
Who's the seller? You're the seller.
Your buyer's buyer one. Your buyer two over there. So I got
We'll need the buyers 1 and 2, the two teams, to
buyer
sit
one.
away from each
Buyer
other.
one, is that right? Sure.
Okay, then.
Your
Buyer team
two,
1 and
right?
buyer team 2 to sit separately.
Okay, together. Buyer two?
Yeah.
So who's buyer 1 here?
And buyer two, right?
Both by 1. So you guys sit together.
Okay, so,
So there's 3 teams.
You got 3 teams. So seller and seller, you got together.
buyer.
Buyer 2, you got to.
What's that?
Buyer one.
You don't have to break now.
You have to come around.
Yes.
That's your mission.
Sorry.
This is, you're the seller. You have 2 buyers.